Hello, hello. What's up? What's up? You guys, it's an awesome Wednesday today. I want you guys to tell all the women that you love them. All your boss women, tell them that you are bosses because it is International Women's History Month. And this is a special edition in Skyy Lounge on Next Level Podcast for women in honor of International Women's Day, which was this past Monday, March 8th. So show some love to your women. You know, shout out to all the dope women out there that are doing dope things, being bosses, being moms, being entrepreneurs, being business women, just doing the damn thing. So shout out to them. Of course, big shout out to our boss lady, Skyy. Okay. Shout out to her. It was her birthday yesterday. So she was celebrating a birthday, bossing up, getting more coins. So shout out to her. You guys make sure you go tell Naya happy birthday. I'm your girl, Bonnie Banks. You guys are tuned into Next Level Podcast. In the Skyy Lounge today, we have trademark lawyer Dayna Thomas. So welcome in, Dayna.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are excited to have you on this special edition for women because it is International Women's History Month. And in honor of that, we are interviewing women today. And you are one of our gracious women that we want to showcase. So I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I love it. I love sharing a bit about me, my story, even hearing about you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a great time today.
Yes, it is. It is. So one thing we like to do here in the Skyy Lounge is start off with an icebreaker, just something easy so that people can get to know you. We can loosen up the room a little bit. Nothing too crazy. It's just a good time, a little game.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this one is called, like the first thing that comes to your head. I'm going to say a word, and they're all words that are a few empowering women words. And you're just going to tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
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 So here it is. Beyonce.
Power.
Period. Get information.
That's right. She's got it.
Yes, love her. Okay. Women empowerment.
Sisterly love. I would say that. Supporting each other. Like, it's not just about you, it's all of us together.
Right. We can all do more things together than against each other. So, love that. Glass ceiling.
Breaking it. No such thing.
Yes, shattered.
There's no such thing. That's right.
Love it. Okay. Vice President Kamala Harris.
History in the making. I would say that. History in the making. She is it. Paving the way.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that she could be our next president?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely don't doubt that she will be. You know, she didn't, I think she had a lot of supporters before, but now, let me tell you, anybody who was doubting or hating, you know, even with this experience that she's actually going to get in the White House, I mean, it's amazing. It's phenomenal. So.
Right. Yes. Shout out to Vice President. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Strong.
You said what?
Strong.
Strong. Me. I had to endure so much to get here, so I say me.
Right. No, a strong Black lawyer.
Right.
Black woman lawyer. Love
it
to
took
see
a lot. Yeah, it took a lot. Thank you.
I know it. Yes. So that was it. That was our icebreaker.
Awesome. I like that game.
Yes, I loved your words. They're definitely right, dead on. Dead on. I love that.
Thank you.
So, Dayna, we're going to get into the interview. I have so many questions, just being a woman that is a business owner. And I saw that you are a trademark lawyer and that you specialize in protecting women's brands. So what is one major thing that new entrepreneurs and even new artists should do when it comes to their brand?
Yes, I would say first educate yourself, right? So I think the first thing in protecting your brand, building a business, just anything that is meaningful to you, you have to first educate yourself about what you're doing. I think that trademarks specifically, because trademarks is a way that the government, the federal government gives you this way to protect your brand, you know? So it's something that you can actually file and register, and you have the support of federal law, like on your back. in order to help you build this brand and protect it and use it exclusively. And so when I first became a lawyer and first opened my firm, I realized that there's so many people that don't even know what a trademark is, or they thought that it was just for the bigger companies like Nike and McDonald's, and because those are the things or the brands they normally hear about trademarks. But trademarks is for everybody who has a brand, anything that you use, any phrase, logo, name, catchphrase, tagline that you use in connection to sell or promote a product or a service. Like, you really need to consider trademarks before you start putting that out. So I would say educating yourself on what it is, when to get a trademark, even if it's just a consultation, even if it's just Googling online. Educate yourself about your brand, because if somebody else already has it and you have to rebrand after you've already built a following, you might have inventory, put your website up, you got this, you got that, and then you get a cease and desist letter. It's like, oh my God, I have to rebrand or else they're going to sue me. Like, you don't want to make that mistake.
Do you think that some people would trademark your whatever brand it is just in order to receive money from you as well? Because there's like this thing where people will create websites so that you have to buy the website name from them. So do you kind of see that being the same thing?
So that is an unfortunate situation that actually really does happen. And so even before clients or entrepreneurs, I won't even just say clients, but before entrepreneurs pick a name, make sure that that domain is available first. So how can you, I think that it's kind of like making sure that you follow the right steps, right? Because if you commit to this brand name, but you don't own the social media for it, you don't own the domain name for it, right? Then that's kind of setting up a trap for yourself. So before you even pick a name, you want to make sure that that online real estate, that I call it, is available and that you own that. It's free to get social media handles, and it's super cheap to get domain names, right? So even if you're still brainstorming and you want to secure those things, if it's a name that you really want to use, go ahead and do that before someone takes it before you, right? But it does happen where people try, squatters, we call them cyber squatters, right? They'll try to have names. Brand name. They'll try to use or secure a brand name on a domain name or something like that in order to try to negotiate a fee. First of all, I would not recommend negotiating any fee with anyone, especially before you talk to a lawyer about it, because sometimes there's situations in place where we can get the name back. But then also, your rights may not even kick in. It depends on how they're using that name. So just because you have a trademark for something, for a name, it doesn't mean that you own that name flat out. You will be able to use that name exclusively for the products and the services that are in your trademark registration. And of course, this is the thing, the trademark office charges for pretty much every type of product or service that you want to protect it for that fall into certain classes. So you have to be serious about it. Like, if you're going to get a trademark, you actually have to be using it in that way that you want to protect it. And if someone else is cyber squatting, right, but they're not offering the same or similar products and services, then your trademark rights might not kick in. So that's why it's very important to secure your trademark for every type of product or service that you want to use exclusively.
Okay. So what are some rookie mistakes that entrepreneurs make?
Rookie mistakes. Okay. So for one, we know trademarks, right? I'm going to circle back to that one since I just talked about it. But rookie mistakes is not forming a business entity. That will be number one. So that protects your liability. Every entrepreneur should know what limited liability means. Limited liability essentially means that, according to the law, your business is going to be seen as a different person than you, right? So I have the law office of Dayna Thomas, which is my law firm. The law office of Dayna Thomas is she's her own person. She is not me. We are two separate entities. So if there's ever any financial or legal risk or liability with the law office of Dayna Thomas, I'm safe. So whatever I own personally, like my house and my car and the money in my bank account and all these other assets that I own personally, I have nothing to do with what the law office of Dayna Thomas is doing, unless I'm committing like a crime or something like that. But if
Okay.
it's just general business matters, right? If the law office of Dayna Thomas does something that the law office of Dayna Thomas wasn't supposed to do, then it's the law firm's liability or the business's liability or the business's assets which are at stake. So that's important because business is risky, right? It doesn't matter what business you have. It doesn't matter how much you try to tie up loose ends. Every business is risky, which makes the difference between entrepreneurs sometimes, like how much risk you're willing to take. But even if you're risk averse, every business is risky. And so limited liability means that what your business does, like those risks and liabilities will be separate from you. And you need to, the way to make sure that liability protection is strong is one, having a business entity, right? So that's filing an LLC with your state. In very limited circumstances, would I ever recommend filing a corporation? Sometimes, yes, it is best to form a corporation, but not the normal general solo entrepreneur who's starting a business. Form an LLC, right? So of course I'm saying that generally. For me to give you specific advice about that, we would have to talk about your situation, but I can say confidently, most new entrepreneurs should be forming an LLC. So I would say that's one thing. They just go out and start a business, don't file anything with the state in terms of their LLC, and then their liability is not protected. Right, so that means if there's ever an issue with a contract or a client or something, that's going to be against you personally, right? And so if it ever had a judgment, that could be a lien on your house or your car or your bank account, and we don't want that to happen. One other thing that I want to mention, Bonnie, is ownership of your content, right? Like a lot of entrepreneurs nowadays, entrepreneurs, entertainers, we're creating content. Like I create content on a daily basis. So just remember the default rule when it comes to ownership of your content is that whoever created it owns it. Okay, they own the copyright to that content. So copyright is a type of intellectual property. So intellectual property is assets that come from your mind, right? So it's a type of intellectual property that protects works of art, right? Or authorship, right? So this video right now, we both own the copyright to this video because we're creating it. It's my words and your words. So the default rule is whoever creates it owns it. So entrepreneurs out there who are watching, if you have a logo and you did not design that logo yourself and you do not have a contract that says that you own it, your designer owns that logo. They own the copyright to that logo. And so what does that mean, right? That means that when your business blows up, and I believe in speaking things into existence, right? So not if your business blows up, but when your business blows up, right? Who's gonna come knocking at your door because your logo is all over the place making millions of dollars, right? Your logo designer, they are. Yep, and because they still own the copyright to that, you will only have an implied license, right? So you have a license to it because they gave it to you. It's implied that they gave you permission, but that can be revoked at any time. So you want to make sure that whenever anyone is creating content for you, the only way to change that default is by having a contract, right? And of course, that's where attorneys and advisors come into play.
I see. Okay, so just quick question for myself, because I have created my own logo. How do you go about copywriting for your own logo then?
Okay, awesome. So if you created your own logo and you're talented like that, I actually created my own logo. You created your own logo. So, you know, if you're trying to save some money, or even maybe if that talent, when I first started my law firm, I was trying to reduce my expenses as much as possible. So yes, I was on camera creating a logo, right? And I suggest if you guys could even try it, do the same. And so how do you make sure you own your copyright? So for one, copyright is not something that you have to register. It's beneficial if you do, right? And I'm going to talk about that. But once you create it and it's in a tangible form, meaning you can touch it, right? So if I tell you in my idea for a logo design, that is not copyright protectable. Once I actually design it and it's in a computer, in a file, I can touch that, right? Or it's on paper, I can touch that. If it's in a tangible form, then it automatically is copyrightable material or copyrighted. And whoever created it owns that. Now, we need to take it a step further, right? Or we should, and register the copyright. So when you register a copyright, it's not creating a copyright, it's just registering the copyright that you already have, right? And essentially that gives you more rights, such as being able to sue somebody who infringes on your copyright and being able to potentially get more money if they do infringe on your copyright and a judge, grants it in your favor.
I see. Okay. So I need to go register my
Yes, register the copyright for your content. Yes, ma'am. And they make it relatively easy online. And there's a lot of good information and videos on how to do it. It's a simple process.
Nice. If you guys missed the beginning, you'll be able to watch this video once it's posted. You'll get some good, just 101 from Dayna here that's just dropping gems. If you're an entrepreneur, you definitely listen to this. And then you give so much advice to women, especially just entrepreneurs wanting to start their business. Who do you go to for advice?
Oh, that's good. You know who I go to? So I would say I go to my husband. So he is actually in the marketing world as well. So he's actually really helpful. And honestly, outside of that, I talk to God a whole lot, whole lot about what to do. And if I don't hear the answer or have the answer, I just wait. And I really would say if it wasn't for him, I couldn't make any decision, right? And I don't say that to preach. I just say that because that's truly my life and my story, right? And so anytime I feel like I don't have the answer or how do I do this? If I'm really particular about I think decision making is very important in business and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, guys, really is just a series of decisions. You just got to keep making decisions and making the best decisions possible. And with that, I try to make the best decisions, and I just have to consult him all the time. I just have to, is this the right thing to do? If I don't feel it, that feeling that I get that it's the right thing, I'm not doing it yet, because that's how he speaks to me in those feelings. So that's who I consult with, my husband and the Lord.
And the Lord of my husband. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, because I saw that you were married during the pandemic.
Yes. Yes, I was.
What was that like? Because I know, women, as women, we kind of envision what our special day was going to be like, or, what we're going to do, what we're going to wear. So what was it like for you?
So, honestly, I never really envisioned what my wedding day would be like until I got closer to being married, right? Okay. And then I was like, do we want to wait until after? And I just felt like it was just arbitrary just to wait until after when we knew what we wanted to do. So at first we were gonna still keep it small, like a 50-person wedding. And then we decided to go 20 people, immediate family only. And at first it was hard for me to make that decision, but then after it was like, what, it's really about the two of us, And so we live streamed it. And we made it work. It was still beautiful. The dress was still beautiful. Cake was still beautiful. We just had, mom, dad, my two sisters, my aunt and uncle, and that was it from my side. And he had the same. He has a bit bigger immediate family, but that's who was there, and a couple of his best friends, and it was still beautiful, So we have to remember what marriage is about. It's about the marriage, the two people. And so not to destroy anyone's dream, but we also said that we would have a bigger wedding, when the pandemic was over. So we can still do that later on.
Right. It's no rush, as long as you guys love each other and you're together now.
That's right.
Yes. So you mentioned that that you talked to God for your decision making, and I also saw that you got baptized in public. So how was that making the decision in public?
So, it was something that I was thinking about for a very long time. And I would say I was having this battle back and forth internally about whether it was the right time or not. And I just felt like God had blessed me so much to that point. So why would I not take that extra step to make such a commitment to him? And once I talked to myself in that way, there's nothing that I should hold back from him. Or at least doing to please him, it made it an easier decision. And so, yes, it was a public event. It was at my church. And this was right before the pandemic. So we got to enjoy it with some friends and family. But it really was a great decision. And I think that me just being faithful in that moment kind of helps all the other things to fall into place.
Right. Well,
thank you, everybody who's saying congrats. Thank you.
I definitely want to hear a success story of a woman that you've helped that was an entrepreneur. So do you have any possibly at the top of your head?
Yes, yes, I do. So along with providing legal service, so I have my law firm, the law office of Dayna Thomas, but I also have an online school. And my online school focuses on helping entrepreneurs build better businesses. And a subset of that is I have a program called New Lawyer Launch, right? So it's newlawyerlaunch.com. And essentially, I help new lawyers start their own law firm. Because let me tell you, Bonnie, when I was starting my law firm, there was no help. Like, I started my law firm right out of law school. Mm-hmm. Everybody and their mama told me not to do it, right? Mm-hmm. Get some experience first and, you know, save your money and work somewhere for 5 years. And I know it came from a good place, right? Mm-hmm. But I just knew that wasn't for me. I felt that calling that like to start my firm like right away. And so that's what I did with, you know, a lot of different marketing strategies that I came up with and just different things that I did to make it work. And it really did. My firm really took off from the beginning. And I started to get a lot of inquiries about like, how did you do it, right? And so that led me to starting a course called Entrepreneurship Attorney Bootcamp. So in Entrepreneurship Attorney Bootcamp, I have lawyers in there. I think we have close to 100 now, actually, who I've taught how to start their own law firm. So one story that comes to me is, I love them all. But one story that comes to me is for Celicia. I love me some Celicia. Celicia joined my course. And she said, you know, that it was like she had to take like kind of out of her last savings, right, to do it. Because in the beginning, I didn't have any money when I was starting my firm at all either. And so that was something that I shared with them, which I think spoke to them in terms of joining. And Celicia made 6 figures in her firm. I think she said in 5 months, something like that, five months. And I'm like, mind blown. And I just love it. It warmed my heart because it's like, wow, you know, me following this idea of starting a course, you know, which God told me to do, and I had no idea where it would go, led to another person, you know, believing in themselves, taking what they had in order to join the course, and then for it to multiply like that, like it was just a blessing for her and for me because it really did motivate me to do more to help more people.
Right. Wow, and that's on International Women's Month, okay?
Yes, so amazing. And it's just, I'm just so grateful even for the opportunity here to talk to you and kind of share my story and what I'm doing. So I just love entrepreneurs. I love women who, you know, want to do their thing. It doesn't matter. Like I started my firm when I was a single mom. I had a baby, like all of it. You know, my family was in New York and Florida. It was just me in Georgia with a baby and a business, right? So if I can do it with a baby and a business, I had rent to pay, car note, like I had to pay all my bills by myself, right? And my son was born the year after I started my law firm, right? And so I'm telling y'all, women, we can do it all. We totally can. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. It is possible. Anything that you have in your mind that you want to do, nothing is going to stop you. You can only fail if you quit. That is the only way that you would fail is if you quit. So don't quit. Always bet on yourself, and I promise you will be successful.
Oh man, love that. Love the story. Love the inspiration, of course. And it's International Women's Month, so of course, like the story is just perfect for that. And I'm starting to see a lot of women entrepreneurs. I'm sure you see that all the time. Why is it important for women to own their own businesses and be entrepreneurs?
Girl, so that's a real talk right there. That's a real talk, right? And I'm gonna give you a real talk answer.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Okay, when I asked that question to myself, like, why did I have all of these goals that I wanted to do? And, you know, I did this exercise and I was like, well, why? Why do you want to start your business? Well, why do you want to do this? And why, and why, and why? And when it came down to the last why, it was like, so I don't have to depend on a man. And that shocked me. I'm not giving no advice to anybody as it relates to that. I'm just saying my story when I was a single woman. I'm married now, right? But when I was a single woman, it was like, so I don't have to depend on not just a man, but just anybody. I wanted to be able to take care of myself. I wanted that any decisions that I was making, it was not out of desperation. It was not because I needed it, or I need this person, or I need this money, or I need whatever. I wanted whatever decisions that I made in life to be because I wanted to do it and not because I needed to. Wow. You know, and the flexibility that being an entrepreneur gave me, where I didn't have to be anywhere where I didn't want to be, right? Because I work for myself. I can schedule my own stuff, right? I can cancel stuff when I want to, right?
that's
have that type of flexibility, right? And have my own money and be able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, right? Not saying to be selfish all the time. There is a period of that you need to be selfish when you're an entrepreneur, but I just wanted to move off of what I wanted to do and not out of dependency. And so, I mean, I think that's why entrepreneurship is important for women. So like we can have for ourselves, like you do it because you want to. If you want to be somewhere on a certain day, go. If you don't want to be anywhere, stay in your bed, right? If you want to date somebody, date them because you like them, right? I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much money you don't make, right? It had nothing to do with any of that. It's just because of what my heart wanted, you know, for my life. So that's what matters.
Oh man, so that's why women in this chat, that's why you guys should be entrepreneurs, okay? And that's on International Women's History Month, okay?
Yeah.
Dayna, before we get out of here, are there any just last words that you'd like to say? What do you have coming up next? How can we just stay in touch with you?
Yes. You know, I'm trying not to preach too much. That's what I always have. I just want you guys to believe in yourselves, right? So if you have a passion for something that you want to do, I mean, you don't have to live a life where you're going to a job that you hate, right? So I've been there. I started my law from right out of law school, but I've been there during college and during summers, interning or whatever it was. Like, I just hated that, right? And even the feeling of when you're sick, you wake up and you're sick, but you're scared to call out. It's like, why? I'm a grown ass person. Like, why do I have to be scared to call out of work? You know, no one should have that much control over your life. You know, so if you are unhappy in your situation, whether that is your career, your relationship, whatever it is, like, you have the ability to change it. And you need to also know that everything matters in terms of whether your business is successful. Like, even if you're the most business savvy person, but you're popping off at the mouth at people and giving people attitudes, and the Lord is telling you to apologize to someone and you're ignoring it, like, all of that matters for your business, right? You have to change from the inside out. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I was not always this, you know, kumbaya person.
Southern hospitality.
I was not always like that, but I had to change in order for me to get to the levels that I'm at and that I want to be at. Because how can God trust me with all the things that I want, the power in terms of the flexibility for my life and, you know, monetarily and things like that, if he can't trust me to listen to him with those riches, right? Or those things that he's given to me. So if you're not listening to him now in your situation in terms of start that business or apologize to that person or leave that relationship or leave that job, how is he ever going to trust you making millions of dollars that you're going to use that for his purpose? Yeah. Right? So everything matters. You have to change from the inside out. How you treat people matter, right? All of those things. You have to listen deep down inside to what he's telling you and be eager to do it. And let me tell you something. I'm sorry I'm preaching right now, but let me tell you something. Those things that he's telling you to do is always going to be uncomfortable, and it's always going to be something that you don't want to do ever. You can count on that 100% of the time, right? But you have to overcome that, right? You have to overcome that. It's never going to be something that you want to do, but soon when you start to see that me following that feeling or following those instructions, no matter how hard, gets you a little win, and then you're gonna start getting medium wins, and then you're gonna start getting big wins, right? And then you're gonna start looking for that feeling. Okay, what you telling me to do? What next? I want to keep winning, right? So what do I need to do next to please you, right? And it's not always gonna be business related. You know, sometimes it's with your family, sometimes it's with strangers, sometimes it's with your money and donating, sometimes it's, you know, an argument that you just have with someone and then, you know, you have to be the one to apologize. It's those things, right? So it all matters. I'm telling y'all, it all matters. So remember that.
Gosh, Dayna, Dayna, girl, you're talking to me. You are talking to me, okay?
Yes.
It's so true. You're always going to be in uncomfortable positions. Change is good. You know, you have to be able to follow your intuition and listen to that voice. Which sometimes I know it can be hard, especially if you're like in a position of making a decision. You feel like what your gut is telling you is one thing, but your mind is telling you something else. So all of those gems, Dayna's dropping gems. You guys make sure you follow Dayna Thomas, the trademark lawyer, of course. And if you need consulting, I'm sure you consult for people starting their businesses and things of that nature and what they should do. So make sure you guys follow Dayna Thomas. Thank you so much for joining our special edition for Next Level Podcast.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.